Timmy here. So, how did I lose my family? Well, just before we go into it, this video and these future videos are a way for me to open up and tell you my story in hope that it might help you with your journey as a dad and with a man. My relationship ended 4 months ago. We had a house together and 2 kids, and so I'm out of my home right now in a rental. This is my bedroom at the moment, and so to understand why my relationship and how I lost my family, we have to go back to when I was younger, as a kid and as a teenager, as a young adult. So throughout all those years, I struggled with anger, and my anger wasn't directed towards people in general. I was never in any street fights. I was never an aggressive person like that, but it was always frustration at myself and how I dealt with losing or things not working out my way. So as a young adult and a teenager, I played lots of video games, and when I used to lose, I would more often than not either punch a hole in the wall, or I'd grab the controller and I would essentially turn it into rubble in some cases. And that was generally done in solitude. There was not normally other people around except for my mates, who kind of thought it was funny. I know Timmy's having an outburst, Timmy smashed another controller. And so it was, I normalized it subconsciously. I normalized that's how I dealt with my anger. Was I smashed something, I felt good about it for probably a minute, and then I just got on with it. Went and bought another controller, cost me lots of bloody money. And that's how so I normalized that anger. And not many people really saw it. When I told people I had an anger problem, they were quite shocked, because I was pretty chilled in life and I was very carefree, and that was my personality for a long time. And so when I did my carpentry apprenticeship, I would also smash tools when I made a mistake or a screw slipped when I was trying to use an impact driver. And I'll get so angry inside that, and it would go from 0 to 100 in the blink of an eye, and I'd find myself smashing my nail gun into the chipboard flooring or into concrete and just totally annihilating it. And which is quite an expensive outburst, because some of these guns cost $1,000, drills a couple of $100. But because I'd normalised it in previous experiences, that's just how I thought I could control and release my anger. And so I come to getting into a serious relationship with my ex, who is the mother of my 2 children. We had a great relationship up until, I guess, the second kid, where I had a lot of trouble dealing with that second kid. And because you have that first one, it's all this new amazing thing, and it was hard, and then you get into this routine of the first kid's talking and walking around, and then you get thrown straight back into the deep end of nappies, sleepless nights, and that really took its toll on me for some reason, and I withdrew from that. So I withdrew from just being a parent a lot, actually, to where I regretted having children because of the stress it put me under on a daily. So before kids, I could avoid stress, and that's what I did. I've always avoided any sorts of stress in my career, relationships, or doing anything hard. And we'll go on to that in later videos. But so having those kids ultimately put immense stress on me, and it was during COVID also. That was another big factor. But how I lost my family was the inability to control my anger. And that was getting frustrated at my second kid crying because he wouldn't go to sleep, or getting so angry that my first son, who had learned how to speak, if he'd get angry, he'd say, "Dad, I hate you." And I took that. That was a deep burn to me, and that made me angry. And I would often get in my car and take off, not even tell anyone where I was going because I had to get away. And a few times I unfortunately smashed things in the house in front of my ex, in front of my partner at the time. For instance, I put a hole in my lounge room wall. I put holes in my garage door, smashed lots of things, even that they never saw. And because I'd normalised that, in my mind, I was like, oh, I've smashed a hole in the wall. You idiot. Let's get some plaster. We'll fix it tomorrow. Get some paint. It's all fine and we'll just carry on. But I wasn't thinking about how that would affect everyone around me, and how the feeling that my ex would have had when she seen a hole appear in the lounge room wall. And I've only really reflected on that lately. So ultimately, I lost my family because I had the inability to control my anger, which led to outbursts that are just unacceptable, especially in today's societies. Maybe it was acceptable 30, 40 years ago. But these days, it's absolutely not. And I had every opportunity to get help, and I actually did get help. I went to a few psychologists to try and get help, but I always just came away thinking, this waste of money, waste of time. I never wanted to spend money on it, and I had so many chances to make it right, but ultimately I burnt out my partner, and she probably lost all respect and love for me, and was probably concerned about me being around the kids and how I would react. And that's totally fair. So this is the first video of many. I'm going to air my thoughts and try to help you as a man, try to help you, try to give you some tips from the mistakes I made so you can have better relationships with your family and your kids. Because to me, my kids are the most important thing in the world, and I'll do anything for them. So thank you for watching. This is pretty raw for me to open up like this, but I think it's important. And so we'll see you on the next video.